So how affordable is Chattanooga to live in? And in today's video, we're going to discuss all the different costs that are associated with living in Chattanooga. Let's get right into it. So first, we're going to discuss the costs that everybody knows about as far as housing and groceries and stuff like that. But stick around because we're going to talk about hidden costs that people typically don't know about. And then we're going to discuss hidden savings that everybody needs to know about why it's so affordable to live here. And it's mainly because of these hidden savings that I'm going to discuss today. When discussing housing costs, Chattanooga is located in Hamilton County, but the greater Chattanooga actually has a couple of different counties around it and also some counties right into Georgia on the northern part of Georgia. So Hamilton County, where Chattanooga is located, the median price point for the homes here in Hamilton County is $381,000. And then we have Bradley County, which is east of Hamilton County, and that has a median price point of $317,000. And then if we're looking at Catoosa County, which is right over the border into Georgia, that has an average price point of $309,000. And then right next to Catoosa County in Georgia, you have Walker County, which the median price point is $264,000. So the median price point in the Chattanooga area is $381,000. And what I'm going to do now is try to compare to several states that either people move from to Tennessee or are actually, in kind of a competition as far as like, no state income tax and things like that. People typically look at Tennessee and Florida and Texas at the same time. So I'm just going to list a couple of states and their price points, which I'll put on the screen. So the median price point for Florida homes is $421,000. The median price point for California home is $742,000. For Texas is $359,000. For Georgia is $263,000. For New York is $599,000. And that will give you a good general idea of what you can expect as far as the average price point when we compare it to Hamilton County and the surrounding areas compared to all these other places where people are either coming from or comparing Tennessee and Chattanooga to. Hey guys, real quick, if you're looking to move to the area, reach out to us on the number in your screen. We have helped over 100 families move to the area. We love helping people move here that want to be part of the community, part of the culture that we have in Chattanooga. So I hope to talk to you soon. With that said, let's get back to today's video. Now, another thing I just want to touch on briefly is utilities and grocery costs. Chattanooga has a 10% lower grocery cost and a 9% lower utility cost when we're comparing it to the national average, which is a huge savings when you extrapolate that into a yearly budget. If you have a certain job that you're trying to save a lot of money or pay a lot of debt, these costs will definitely add up and will be a benefit for you when moving to the area. Now, the next thing I'm going to discuss is gas prices, right? A lot of us commute to work and we need a car to get around. So I'm going to put a picture on the screen right here, actually scoot over, and you'll see it doesn't give exact numbers, but the darker the state is, the higher the cost of the gas is. And as you can see here on the screen, Tennessee has a very light green, which shows a lower cost of gas. And if we compare it to a different state that I've already mentioned, Tennessee is probably one of the lowest cost of gases here. And if you want some numbers for you, the average price per gallon nationwide is actually $3.03. So if we compare it to all the different places I've suggested, Chattanooga or Tennessee as a whole has a $2.69 per gallon. Florida has 3.12. California has 4.319. Texas has 2.6. Georgia has 3.1, and New York has 3.19. And again, all these figures will be on the screen. You can go ahead and just pause the video so you can look at the differences. And this is another savings that you're going to get from Tennessee by just living here. So since we talked about gas prices, how about we talk about car insurance? And I'm going to scoot over so I can have all the figures right here. And if we take each state that I have mentioned into consideration, Tennessee has an average annual cost of coverage of $2,026 and an average annual cost of minimum coverage of $512. And out of the whole list, I believe Tennessee is the cheapest. But as you can see, Florida has over $4,000 for the high average cost, $1,100 for the minimum coverage. Texas has $2,500 and $724. New York has $3,800, $1,600. California has $2,800 and $670, which was actually a surprise. And Georgia has $2,800 and $1,000. So as you can see from the table right here, Tennessee has the lowest cost when it comes to car insurance as well. All right, now that we've gotten through the normal expenses that everybody should know about or anybody can go ahead and Google, what I'm going to discuss now is the hidden costs, and then we're going to do the hidden savings that you can find here. So one of the biggest hidden hidden costs that people don't talk about or don't know about when moving to Chattanooga is that Tennessee has one of the highest sales tax in the country. I believe any list that you look up, Tennessee is inside the top 10. It's typically 8 or 9 or sometimes even 10, but it has definitely a high sales tax. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll over again, and I'll go ahead and put a map right here. And the map just says how high are sales taxes in your state. So if you look at Tennessee average is 9.55% sales tax. And if we look at the other places that I discussed, California is 8.8, Florida is 7.09, Georgia is 7.38, so on and so forth. You can look at the map yourself and kind of see where you're coming from or compared to other places. Now, something that I will mention is that Tennessee has a 7% sales tax across the board. Every county, or depending where you live, has an additional sales tax. In Hamilton County, we have 2.25% sales tax added onto it. So here in Hamilton County, you will have a 9.25% sales tax no matter what you buy. And that includes if you go to a different state to buy a car, right? They're going to charge you based off of where you live. Something that you can do to get around it is that we have a Costco right over the border into Georgia. So you can go over there into Costco and other grocery stores to get a little bit of a break on the sales tax. But overall, Tennessee has a higher sales tax. Now let's discuss hidden savings. This is something that is definitely going to help you. I've already talked about many different costs, and you can actually save a lot on those costs, but here are additional places that you can expect to have savings when moving to Chattanooga. One of the biggest expenses that people have are typically property taxes, and according to Bankrate, and I will go ahead and link everything that I'm talking about in the description below that you can go to all these websites, but Bankrate has a table that shows all the different effective rates or the cost for property taxes. And as you can see, I'm going to scroll over again. Right here on the table, I'm going to put it up there. Tennessee has a median property tax of $1,376 for a median value of the house here, which is again around that 380 mark. So we have an effective rate of 67%. Okay, just keep those numbers in mind, and it, of course, look right here on the screen. So when we compare it to Texas, though, Texas has a median property taxes of $4,050 with an effective rate of 1.68. California has $4,831 and an effective rate of 75%. Georgia has a median price point of $2,100 and a 92% effective rate. Florida has $2,500 and a 91% effective rate. New York has $6,000 or $6,100 and effective rate of 1.4%. So as you can see right here, that's just going to be a huge savings for you when you're living here. So when we get the median property taxes of Tennessee of $1,376, that's going to come out to $114, maybe a little bit extra of monthly property taxes added on. And if we take the most expensive, which I believe is New York, if we take $6,180, spread it out in 12 months, you're going to get a monthly extra payment or a monthly property tax payment of $515. So that's almost 5 times more in New York when compared to Chattanooga. And that's a huge savings that you're going to get. That's going to be way more affordable here in Chattanooga. Okay, so we discussed property taxes, but what about property insurance? You guessed it, Chattanooga is definitely cheaper and a little bit cheaper than the national average. And again, I'm going to scoot over, put a table here. This is all 50 states. And according to this chart right here, if we look on the chart, Tennessee lands on number 23 with $1,232 in property insurance that you can expect, where the United States is $1,249. So we're barely under the national average. And you can go ahead and read the table depending where you're coming from. Louisiana, Florida has $1,960, so on and so forth. So that shows you that Chattanooga has a lower property insurance as well as the lower property taxes. Now, another huge savings that you can expect when you move here, especially if you're coming from places that are bigger cities or states like Florida and others, is that we have no toll roads in Tennessee. I remember when I lived in Houston for a couple months. I grew up in South Florida. I've lived in many different places, and toll roads definitely add up. It's one thing if you just use it every now and then, or on the weekends use the tolls to get to certain places. But when we lived in Houston, my wife had to work across the city Canadians, you have to take nothing but toll roads, and we would spend a couple $100 a month just on tolls alone. So I'm going to scoot over and put a map right here, and the map right here shows all the states that has the colors don't really mean anything. The colors means they either use an easy toll or have electronic tolls or don't have electronic tolls, so that doesn't really matter. But these are all the states that have tolls. Like we have discussed, Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, New York, they all have tolls. When we consider Tennessee does not have tolls, that's a huge plus because you don't have that added cost, and it's definitely a savings for you. If you live somewhere that you have to commute to work and you're paying for tolls all the time, you will definitely save money there as well. Now, the last thing I want to discuss when it comes to savings, now this is not so much a secret, but maybe if you're coming from a state that has this, it's not something you think about, but income tax. Tennessee does not have any state income tax. So again, with a map right here, I'm going to put a map of all the states that have income tax, the ones that don't: South Dakota, Wyoming, Nevada, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, and Alaska. So if you're looking at Texas and Florida, great, no income tax as well. But if you live in Georgia or looking at Georgia, 5.49% income tax, California, 13.38, New York, 10.99. So when you compare to these other states, it's definitely a plus and definitely a savings, especially if you're coming from places that have state income tax. You are going to save a ton on taxes, and it's going to be a huge, nice savings for you. Well, that's today's video, guys. I hope I was able to give you some value. I hope I was able to answer some questions and maybe help you put at ease some savings and how affordable it is to live in Chattanooga. If you guys are looking to move to the area, reach out to me on the number on your screen. Me and my team would love to help you make the move to Chattanooga. We love this area. We love helping people move here, and we would love to help you and answer any questions. So with that said, until next time, take care and God bless.